now that we're through it, a good 48 almost removed from the final drill, who do you think's number one overall? What's the sense as you walk out of the combine? Who's going to be the first name read by Roger Goodell in Vegas coming up? What do you think?
I think, look, we got a long ways to go, but just kind of what you hear and just kind of looking at it from the outside, I think it's pointing towards your guy Aiden Hutchinson being the first overall pick.
Really?
I just think he's too clean. He's too safe. This is a Jaguar team that, let's just say they haven't been rewarded for going outside the box in recent history. So I would think that just put this thing right in the fairway. That's Aiden Hutchinson. He's, it's insulting to say that he's kind of a high floor player because I feel like you sell him short a little bit. That he can't be an elite player. I think he can be. So the makeup, the production, the height, weight, speed, I don't care. People look at the 40. Nobody cares about the 40 with the edge rushers. His 10 time was excellent. His 3-cone was, I think, the best of the entire group, which is all the stuff that translates to pass rush. So to me, you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. You need to get this one right. And I just think that Aiden Hutchinson is just, again, parking this thing right out in the middle of the fairway.
Well, that 3-cone drill, from what I heard, too, was similar to that of a slot receiver. That's how fast he is.
I think there were only like 2 or 3 receivers in this draft that had a better 3-cone time. So, yeah, that's pretty special.
And again, those are just 3 cones set up on the turf, and you run it around it a certain way, and you're timed, and that's how you can be measured for your explosiveness and things like that. Correct? That's just so we can make people understand.
Change of direction. Yeah, explosiveness. The 3-cone's really great for pass rushers because you see the explosiveness, you see the change of direction, and you see the ability to bend kind of when you come around that last cone. So those are pretty important characteristics of pass rushers. So, he was great there.
Well, I guess if I just got that one out of you, we could kind of mock it in a way. So if that happens, then the Lions would take who? Would that open the door for Kyle Hamilton, a safety to go to? Would they need a pass protector for whoever, if Goff or whoever they go long-term at that position? What would the Lions do it to? What would they do?
I would say offensive line would be out, Rich, just because they're in pretty good shape there, especially with Penei Sewell, who they took last year.
Right.
So I would cross the tackles off the list. You bring up Kyle Hamilton. People are split on that of how early do you take a safety.
Right.
I honestly think, and I think Kayvon Thibodeau comes into play there as an edge rusher, and we talked about it during the broadcast. Would not shock me at all if Trayvon Walker climbed all the way up to the second pick in this draft. I mean, he's just he's a unique player. I mean, you don't see guys with that height, weight, speed combination with the fluidity that he showed. And, the knock on him, people said, the kind of had average sack production and you can't take a guy all the way up there. And then all you have to do is point to Jermaine Johnson, who was playing in that same Georgia defense, had 4 sacks. And then he goes to Florida State because he wanted to actually get on the field consistently, and he leads the ACC in sacks and has 12, and then he goes to the Senior Bowl and nobody could block him. So that Georgia defense, as we've talked about all week, was just absolutely stacked and loaded. And I think that's like a defensive line coach's dream to have that combination of skills that he possesses. So I think he enters the conversation right there at number 2, especially if Hutchinson goes 1.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.